bit about the rear seal. You know, I always had problems with these things leaking, and you know, over the years. And I'm going to show you what types of things to look for. And you know, it's kind of a crapshoot on these things, because sometimes you'll put every part in new and you'll put it back together and you go, damn, the thing still leaks. So I'm going to show you a couple things, or not every part in new. Sometimes you'll use your old flywheel, and I'm going to show you this is where the problem is. So this is an old 180 flywheel. You can't really buy these new. And you see this little groove right here in the flywheel. It's worn out. It's worn a groove from the seal being on the engine for so long. Okay, if you can even get in there, I'm going to try and get you up close. Let's look at that little groove right there. Could cause you a problem. So, because the seal it may not ride in exactly the same place because you didn't have it positioned, because you know this engine probably has a lot of miles on it. Didn't have it positioned in the same place. So what we did is, when we put it together the first time, we noticed there was a little bit of an oil leak, and the seal here was just a little bit cockeyed this way, just a little bit. So what I think was happening is the seal was actually catching, half the seal was catching on this groove and half wasn't. So when that's happening, it was probably catching just a little bit of oil and slinging it, and it was just enough to put a little stain on your driveway, but not enough to be a real leak. So that might be an issue if you have your flywheel off. Sometimes we'll sand off this whole groove, and then you can buy a sleeve kit for these. You can have it sleeved if you need to do that, or you can do exactly what we did, which is, if you can see here, we've actually pulled the seal out of the hole a little bit. Use silicone to make sure it's going to stay in place. Use your Mega Black silicone, which I show in most of my videos, to hold that sucker in place, and leave it just out of the place, but not too far, because you don't want it to hit the flywheel and wear out either. So just changing it at about 1/16 of an inch should put it in a different groove and stop that oil leak. Sometimes you're going to have to do it 2 or 3 times to get it right. Now, if you're taking it to the shop, you should pay him the second time. Well, wait a minute, that's not my fault. It's not his fault. It's an old car. You know what? That it's not their fault. They put the seal on. It's put on properly, but the old car had old, worn out other stuff that nobody would think about. So anyway, just food for thought. If you're going to do this, you might have to do it a couple times before you get it right, before you get it not to leak. It's not going to be right. Right is new, all new stuff. But, you know, we're fixing an old car. So anyway, just a couple things on your crankshaft seal. Talk to you in the next video.